I'm losing my Corgi. Stay here, Corgi. Don't fall. Hi, this is Sally Morgan, physical therapist, craniosacral therapist, and Tellington T-Touch practitioner for animals and people. This is Tristan. He's a Corgi, and we're here for an episode of Conversations with a Corgi. Hi, Danny. I bet it's cold up where you are. We're in a little reprieve here. It's been in the 40s and 50s, so that's a relief to me and the Corgi. And we've been lucky. It's been raining off and on, but we've been able to get all our walks in all week, which is always a relief to me. I hate missing a walk. So today we're going to continue our discussions about sounds dogs make. We only have a couple left to cover. And today we're going to talk about whining, which is different from whimpering. Whimpering is that sound we all know from the Lassie shows where it's like, whoa. Whining is like a long sustained sound. Like, my mom does a really good whine. And whining is a nasal sound, and the dogs do it with their mouth closed. Often we'll see a dog whining when he wants something, and Danny's got a lot of dogs, so the last one in line for dinner may be whining because he wants dinner. Dogs often whine when they want to go outside or they're trying to get your attention, and certainly my mom's dog, and maybe it's because she does such a great whining imitation herself, her dog whines when she wants to go outside. And I know that if she has whined, my mom will always whine back at her, so it kind of reinforces that sound if she wants to go outside. Also, dogs whine when they're frustrated. And that's, again, getting back to the whining when the other dogs are eating dinner and I want dinner too. And it is a bit of a humming sound. I've had people describe it as singing, but it's not really, because I know that when a dog is whining, it's coming from a place of stress and tension more often than not. So if they feel frustrated, for instance, if you're holding them on a tight leash and they can't go somewhere they want to go, or if two other dogs are playing and they want to join in, maybe your dog's just had something going on and he can't roughhouse anymore for a week or two, and he's whining at the end of his leash because he wants to play with the other dogs. Dogs often will do that whining sound when they're separated from a person or another dog that they love, or even a cat or a horse actually. And I know my dog has whined when I leave him, especially if I don't tell him I'm going, a few times. And his whining often leads to howling. It's similar. A whine is almost like a howl with the mouth closed. So if they are sad that you're leaving, sometimes they'll whine. And my mom's schnauzer has done that too. When she goes out the door, the schnauzer will go, and it's a sad sound, but she wants to go with my mom. Of course, she doesn't really like riding in the car, so she doesn't actually want to go with my mom. She just wants to be where my mom is. The other reason that dogs might whine is because they want attention. They're trying to get your attention so that they can get something they want. I've seen the weaners whining when they're digging at the ground trying to get something, and it's like they're kind of talking to each other. Like when my guy that helps me out in the yard is here and he has to dig a really deep hole for us to plant a tree, we're kind of digging together, and of course my digging is pretty terrible, so he's not getting a tremendous amount of help from me, but we'll be talking to each other like, oh, this is so hard and I can't believe this is such rocky dirt or whatever. And then it's like the two dachshunds when they're together digging a hole, their whining is like, oh, it's a tough job over here, and the other one will be like, you over here, lots of rocks, and they're kind of talking to each other when they're digging. And I think this is something that some of the earth dogs may do, not just my two dachshunds I know. All three of mine whine and cry when you leave the house. They will howl too. See, Danny knows. She's got a lot of dogs and they all love her. So the whining when you leave the house is really just that they want your attention. They're trying to get you to notice that they're going to miss you and they want to go with you. They're sad because you're leaving. And, they know that we're coming back. Let's face it, our dogs have been with us long enough, generally, unless they're puppies, to know that you're coming home again. But the crying sound that dogs make is also related to the whimpering sound or the whining sound. And if you hear a dog really crying, I've heard some dogs crying really terribly at the vet sometimes, and at my sister's office, sadly, sometimes when she wasn't there. And some dogs were brought in. And that crying sound is just so heart-wrenching. I mean, we all just want to do anything to help the dog that's making that crying sound. And that can come from the whine. The whine also can lead up to baying, which is another sound that we'll talk about in a couple days, because we have to do a couple episodes about Thanksgiving. They act like they'll never see you again. Danny, I know you always come home to your dogs. I know, but it's good. It's part of what dogs do. I mean, they are super bonded in their packs in the wild, or a fox pair even, when they're raising the pups will be really bonded. And so our dogs feel that same way for us. A member of the pack is leaving and they're concerned. Are we going to be okay? Are we coming back? Where are we going? And of course, just like in the wolf world, dogs know that, a pair might go off and come back with like a small prey. And so that's how we eat. So the dogs appreciate that when we do the same thing. But that whining sound, I mean, it's almost as terrible as listening to the whimpering and the crying sound, because they just want something and we want to give it to them. Oh, my mom's a better whiner than I'll ever be for a dog sound. So if your dog is whining, let him out. Give him his dinner. Try to console him if he's pulling at the end of his leash to play with the other dogs. Or if he wants attention and he's staring at you, whining at you, pet him. Often the whine does indicate stress in your dog, that he wants something and he can't get it. So it gets back to that idea of frustration. And then remember, crying can also come from that whining sound. And I know that if you ask maybe a 10-year-old to make a sound like a dog crying, they often will make the whining sound like And Lassie did that a little bit. If you ever get up early enough to watch the Lassie reruns on Cozy TV, and it's heart-wrenching. But and I'm always fascinated at animals on TV. I watch a horse show, and the horses are always whinnying. I mean, I think I could have stayed at the farm where my horse was, where there were about 30 horses, all day and heard one whinny. But, the people walk out of the house, they're all whinnying. They walk into a pasture full of horses, they're all whinnying. The whinnying soundtrack. And the same is true on the Lassie show. They want Lassie to interact with people and talk in dog language, so they make her make some noises. All right, Tristan, that's all we have to say about whining today. We will be back tomorrow, and we're going to start talking about things with Thanksgiving, foods to give your dog, not give your dog, what to do with your dog on Thanksgiving. Right, Tristan? So thanks for joining us today for this episode of Conversations with a Corgi. And we'll try to be back tomorrow. Everybody have a great day. We've got a big walk planned after we go to the store and buy some things for our vegetarian Thanksgiving dinner. He's having something really good, though. He's going to have a nice meaty meal, aren't you? Thanks for joining us. Everybody have a great day.